Hey guys, Rob with Next Gen Writer here. A little salty today, and I try not to do videos when I'm feeling this way, but I really felt like in this case I had to. There's a new product coming out from Aoocci, and the videos are hitting YouTube, and I browsed quite a few of them today, and it kind of annoyed me a little bit, and I thought I'd do a video that kind of did a bit of a dive on Chinese manufacturers in general, maybe with a little specificity about Aoocci, and just some information that you guys might find useful. Now, I'm no stranger to Aoocci product. I have a C9 here still sitting in the box. I think I did an unboxing video on it, and that was about it. I found it to be a perfectly adequate, mediocre product. It worked. It was okay. Nothing spectacular. Not something that I would buy twice for sure. You know, and for a lot of people, that's maybe what you're looking for. But what I take issue with is maybe some of the deception and marketing strategies. So let's go to the computer and let's dive in. So here I'm on Aoocci's website, the web page for the new BX product. So it's a 5.5-inch writing system, I think 1080p cameras with button remote control. They do add a detachable mount sort of with this thing. There's a mechanical quick release, and then you got to detach the cable. The big thing with this, you can see because they tout it right away, is the blind spot detection. And even on the box, they go so far as to say the world's first writing system or something to that effect with what they call a physical BSD. Now, I don't really know what the hell they're talking about, but I think they might be referring to the fact that it's LiDAR. And it's just not true. Alien Writer's been on market for over a year now, and they have a fantastic 77 gigahertz millimeter wave BSD system that's fully integrated and performs almost flawlessly. Speaking of millimeter wave radar, this system delivers with a 24 gigahertz millimeter wave radar. Now, I've done another video that kind of does a dive on this topic, but let me just say 24 gigahertz is pretty much obsolete. That bandwidth is restricted. There's not a lot of room to work there. It's very close to cellular network bands, and physically, the physics of the 77 gigahertz wave, aside from it being a much wider bandwidth, also give much better performance, better accuracy, better range. So to bring a new product to market, first in the world, with 24 gigahertz LiDAR sensing seems a little odd, but whatever. So that's the product. I won't beat on it too much, but you know, it is what it is. So anyway, now all the videos are coming to YouTube. Here's Two Wheel Obsession, and his video is actually close to being pretty fair. These videos amuse me because you can see how painful it was for the content creators to kind of make them and stay positive about the product. If you want to take a dive, there's a bunch of them. But Two Wheel Obsession, I think, did the best job of actually acknowledging some shortcomings and noticing some missing features and poor performance. Here's another guy, Alan with the R6. He did one. Bankrupt Pensioner. He did one. Who is this? Hyper Motard King. He threw one on a Ducati, I believe. Here's this guy, Bavarian Bloodhound. He did one. This one was kind of amusing. He did this kind of kitschy phone call where he's promoting his 22%. And then, that's Alan with R6 again. We'll close that. And one thing, it's kind of funny because one guy actually did this in his freaking intro. He's like, you know, I'm a small YouTuber and I got an email. They wanted to send me this unit. And I was surprised, but all the big guys are doing it. So I said, what the heck? And no money was exchanged. And they sent me a unit, and I'm doing the review. But oh, by the way, on these 22% promos, I am getting affiliate sales. So that's when the money's going to change hands, is on the sales. So, you know, on top of the free unit. So on this page here, we have a website called carplaymotorcycle.com. Now, this sprouted up a while back. I didn't pay much attention to it. A buddy of mine, Hungry, he I guess has an Aoocci contact, and he says they're kind of rebranding, or this is another one of their sites, which just seems kind of weird. I don't know why you would pay to establish a brand and then offshoot to another domain and another brand. That seems kind of weak. So I don't know what's going on there, but they are selling. If you look here, you'll see this what's called CPMC Z55B motorcycle car display screen, which is exactly like the BX. Now keep that Z55B in the back of your mind. We're going to circle back to that. And then we have the Aoocci C6, and then a CPMC M6, which I really haven't paid attention to. And then the Aoocci C5, which has been on the market for a long time. Greeny sold this product. It's actually a very good device, but it's about an $800 device. And then the Aoocci C9, which is what was branded here in Asia as the Gallop Sprite, which is what I ordered. So this is CarPlay Motorcycle Store. Now we come over to this site. I just kind of saw this site today, and this is called Kokima. So now they're selling the BX, which is branded as the CK3 Plus, Pathfinder, MotoNav, AI, blah, blah, blah. And he actually does an unboxing, and sure as shit, it is exactly like the BX, with some very nice packaging, I might add. So Kokima, now remember that. We're going to circle back to that as we do a bit of a deeper dive. So I had known Aoocci was what's called an OEM brand for a long time. So what does that mean? That means they don't really actually manufacture anything. So if we jump over to Aoocci's catalog for motorcycle CarPlay, you can see the devices are all significantly different. They're more than likely made by many different manufacturers. Aoocci buys them. They buy them in bulk. They invest in the packaging, package them up so they look like this, and put them out to sale. It's not that there's anything wrong with that, but people need to understand that when you're talking to Aoocci, you're not talking to the manufacturer. You're not getting a direct communication line to the engineering department. There's a middleman, and they got to direct that information, that problem, that issue to the right manufacturer. And how much does that manufacturer really care about that issue when they're just cranking these out for Aoocci and probably a handful of several other OEM brand companies? Not sure a lot of people are aware of that, so I kind of wanted to highlight that. So now, where did I leave off here? So I thought it might be a good idea to come over to Alibaba and see if there was a device available on the Alibaba wholesale site. And sure enough, here we have, right here, Z55 Pro. Remember I told you to remember that from the CarPlay Motorcycle Store website? Well, here it is. And we'll scroll down, and these listings are always kind of, and here we see the blind spot detector, TPMS, the remote buttons. There's the panel on the Z55 that looks exactly like the BX. And there's the external GPS, and it's being sold under the brand name of Yaolu. And they have 3 different products here under this listing. If you have experience on Alibaba, you're not surprised by that. So the thing is, if we look at this, and they're not really taking sales now. I couldn't buy this directly on Alibaba. I'd have to contact the quote-unquote manufacturer or the listing owner and engage and see what's up. So we're not quite there yet, but it's definitely happening. And it kind of lets you understand what type of product this is. This is OEM product from China. And a lot of times the OEM products, the designs get copied, and you can look at the pictures from a couple of different listings, and they're pretty much identical, but one's an inferior product and one's maybe an okay product. So you just really don't know. I spent some time last year. I would order devices from Alibaba, evaluate them, thought about doing resale, and probably for every 5 that I ordered, I got one that was like, okay, decent, I would say. Not exceptional, but decent. You know, the Aoocci C5, which is, I think Car ABC sells that unit. Greeny sells that unit. That's a pretty decent unit. It does a pretty good job, and I ran that on my bike for a while. But for those units, there's a lot of crap units out there. So now let me show you something else. So we come here and we look at all their product listings, and they've just spammed the hell out of all these various keywords in the title. So what they're doing here is they're fishing to find more OEM product resellers. So they're going to go, I'll contact them. They're going to ask me how many quantity I sell, how many I would like to order, and, you know, take that strategy. A lot of times you don't have to do that, and you can actually order a sample right on Alibaba. So some of these decent devices, you could sample directly from Alibaba and get one unit. Support's definitely going to be lacking, but it's possible and save quite a bit of money. So they're not there yet with this product, but that's where it's going to roll to. That's where it's going to end up. And as far as the price point, $80 to $86, a lot of times there's bait and switch happening there, but it's generally going to be pretty close. That may not include the BSD, or maybe it does. I don't know. But these listings are very vanilla. And I made the inquiry. I'll find out. You know, so if I get some results that I think might be interesting, I'll do a video on it. So what we do know, though, is that Aoocci doesn't make anything. So how do we figure out, well, let's contrast them to another manufacturer first, right? So we have the likes of Chigi, Alien Rider. These are branded manufacturers. Now, in the case of like Alien Rider, they're happy to do OEM branded product as well. If you send them a check, they'll deliver 500 units to you, and they'll stick whatever brand you want on it. They'll customize the display. They will do all that. But they also run their own brand, the Alien Rider brand. But they're very transparent about everything. Now, so how do we figure out, or what's the evidence, I guess? Maybe that's the way I should frame it. So there's a website out there called fcc.report, and it's kind of a master database of all the FCC IDs for any product that's cleared for import into the United States that has RF generating capabilities. So smart writing systems do. They have Bluetooth, they have Wi-Fi, they have LiDAR systems. So they have to get all these clearances, all this documentation. So I use FCC Report, even though it's an unofficial database, just to kind of shag down FCC IDs. So here's Kokuma technology. So if I grab now these first 5 digits right here, all right, let me click on this. Okay, these first 5 digits right here are the FCC IDs. Now, a lot of times a manufacturer will have multiple FCC IDs. You know, one product family may all have the same ID, but then they'll do another device and it'll be assigned another FCC ID later. So this isn't to kind of, empower you to drill down. You're not going to necessarily see every device based on an FCC ID search. But we'll take this FCC ID number and we will go to, did I close the site? Oh, here we go. Okay, now this is the government US FCC database. So I'm going to paste in that FCC code, and we're going to search, and sure enough, we'll click a detail, and here's all the documentation associated with this FCC ID, which is for the CK3 device, this device right here. And then we can also look at Alien Writer, whose mother company is Shenzhen ATS. We'll go through it. Do a search. Okay, and here you can see Shenzhen ATS. And you can even go in and see test setup photos. And there's the Alien Writer right there getting measured for RF emission. So what I can tell you is if we do that search for Aoocci, nothing comes up for these guys. So I know I didn't probably have to try that hard to convince you, but just understand that they're an OEM branded product reseller. They design a box, they create a manual, answer the phone, ship orders, and email back and forth to the real manufacturer of the device. So there you go. That kind of wraps it up. I started this whole exercise because I was just trying to figure out who the hell makes the Aoocci BX. And I still don't know that I know. I think it's this Kokima company. They have the FCC documentation in their name. So I think they build it. I think they're doing their own retail. I think they're doing OEM product sales. And if it matters to you, if this information is important, now you can't say you don't know. I just want to get the information out there. A lot of people have value for Aoocci as being someone to coordinate support for the product and do the marketing for the product. But on the marketing side, I do wish some of these YouTubers, I think the YouTubers that have low subscriber counts, I'm not talking my subscriber count low, in the hundreds, but guys that have a few thousand subscribers, I think they kind of hit a sweet spot for Aoocci because they're super happy to get free product, and they're in a growth mode. They're trying to grow their channel and move it into the next level, and they're probably ripe for someone that will accept a free device, especially when it's attached to a nice affiliate sales program, and say good things about the product. I hope these YouTubers will be, reconsider and, be a little bit more honest and a little bit more careful about how they decide to promote products. And I'm going to leave it at that. Thanks for watching.